JFK's speech was effective for its audience in the time period because it was moving. It gave the citizens a sense of unity and power, and it gave America a feeling of security. We are doing our speech analysis on John F. Kennedy's inaugural address, and we will start with the purpose and audience. So JFK's inaugural address occurred in the U.S. Capitol building on January 20th, 1961. This speech was given by Kennedy himself. His intended audience was mainly the American public, but also included the rest of the world. Kennedy was trying to establish relations with other countries and create optimism in America. At this time of the address, Kennedy was not up to against anyone in particular, though during his campaign he was up against Richard Nixon. Many of those who opposed Kennedy's viewpoints were members of the Republican Party. Kennedy's ultimate purpose was to start his presidency on a high note and give America hope.
John F. Kennedy's inaugural address contained a very strong content and prevalent tone throughout. He made several important points, one being that the U.S. was now and going to be a force to be reckoned with within the world. He urged his citizens and the Americans to band together and to help end problems such as war and hunger. He also called upon Americans to protect their natural rights, alluding to John Locke and his philosophies. He stated that Americans should ask not what their country could do for them, but what they could do for their country, inspiring them to help make a difference and improve their country and improve the world. He inspired a sense of security and hope through this address. He speaks about religion several times, beginning and ending with references to God, and containing a very serious yet hopeful attitude, also very informative.
Kennedy's speech had a strong, prevalent structure, containing a clear beginning, middle, and end. He opens his speech saying, "For I have sworn before you and Almighty God," and ends his speech saying, "Asking His blessing and His help, but knowing that here on earth God's work must truly be our own." Kennedy's address also contained much repetition. The repetition was very effective and helped strengthen his views and ideas. The repetition also challenged American citizens and citizens of the world to make a difference. One word repeatedly used in the speech is power. This is repeated because JFK spoke of how the U.S. is a powerful force to be reckoned with. Another use of the repetition is shown in the word world. World is used when he speaks about the power struggles in the world during the 1960s, as well as who he is directing his speech to, the U.S. and the world.
John F. Kennedy's inaugural address contained parallel structure on a few occasions. Most of these were in the form of an allusion, and several were allusions to religion, and several of these instances were allusions to the Bible. These helped solidify the United States as one nation under God, and helped to unify the country, which was one of his goals, making it very effective. He also alludes to the philosopher John Locke and his philosophies on natural rights, which were very inspiring and very effective because they inspired the country and citizens to fight for their rights.
Okay, now we're doing word choice. The vocabulary that Kennedy chose to use in his inaugural address was appropriate not only for the occasion, but for the citizens of America and the world. His most powerful words of a speech would mainly be new, pledge, sides, and power. Those words were the most powerful because he was uniting United States citizens, mainly take a pledge to band together against things like chains of poverty, things bringing America down, and to spread hope of enemies and other organizations. JFK had presence and effectiveness in his inaugural address, mainly being figurative language, which would be a metaphor of chains of poverty. Chains of poverty is a metaphor because chains of poverty is a phrase and poverty is not chained down. What that meant actually was that poverty chains down a country. So in his address, he took a pledge for everyone to stand up and fight against poverty and unite as a nation.
JFK's first impression was that he was a leader that could unite and lead the U.S. greatly. The dress and appearance of Kennedy was very appropriate for the speech. It was also very appropriate for an inaugural address. To show his youth, he also decided not to wear any overcoat at all, unlike his predecessor Dwight D. Eisenhower, who wore a big coat and a scarf. In conclusion, JFK's inaugural address was effective for the audience and time period because it was moving, gave a sense of unity and power, and provided people with a sense of security.